To protect the league from devastation.
To unite all coaches in our division.
To denounce the evils of misses and crits.
To put way too much effort into this stupid bit.
Cabral.
Spood.
Rocket Division recapped at the speed of light.
Surrendering isn't allowed, so prepare to fight.
Aurora, that's right.
Get out of here! This is not your division recap!
Hello everybody! Welcome back to the final week of Season 8 of Double Dip Draft. I'm Cabral, as you heard in the intro, coach of the Hashlingy Aegis Slashers. Joining me,
Spood, Southtown Sand Slashers. Hi, how are ya?
hi, welcome. It's finally time to find out who actually gets to go to playoffs or not. Unlike a lot of other divisions, as of week 6, Rocket was there. We have an idea of who's making it into playoffs, but placement is completely up in the air. So if you look at from week 6, Aqua, we already knew who was making it into playoffs. Magma, we already have a really good idea of who's in, who's out. If you look at Skull Division, we have some guaranteed ins. Rockets, we have some guaranteed ins, but the placement itself is really up in the air.
Yeah, the thing about Rocket is, you know, like you say, the field has narrowed slightly in that Goober is no longer in contention. The Bidwell Bees are out.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, what you have now is the top 6 players all kind of vying for the same spot. Now, not all players are created equal here. Unfortunately for Nihilus, he is kind of lagging behind the pack, and he is going to need some pretty exceptional circumstances to the point that, you know, if he loses even a single Pokemon in his match against ASCII, he's just not going to be able to make it to playoffs mathematically. Yeah. But he is still technically in going into the week.
Yes. Which is crazy to really think about. And then we also have, you know, some big fights. We have, you know, we're going to get into them. We're going to see Liz versus Martian Mantines this week. And that's a really big who's actually going to make it in, who's not. Aurora versus Bananas is really big for the placement. In fact, Aurora losing is the possible in that Nihilus has. Menma also wants to maintain that first place. We'll get into this a little later. We're not going to go over the actual brackets for playoffs and everything afterwards, but your placement into division will matter going into playoffs. And we'll talk about that a little later, but you know, we got a match to look at first. We have Nihilus of the Dallas Duckletts versus ASCII of the Philadelphia Phantumps.
Phantumps. Yeah, this is, like we say, kinda, you know, I would say it's do or die for Nihilus, and I guess that is technically true, but it's also not really in his control at this point, because even if he wins this with a 6-0, which is necessary for him to advance, he's then basically going to need Aurora to get 6-0'd by Bananas. Mm-hmm. That's the only scenario where he advances. So as we watch this, keep in mind that the moment Nihilus loses even a single Pokemon, he's done. His season's over.
Yeah. What about these Pokemon do we see, though? I see Nihilego, and that's such a fun bring. We haven't seen it a lot this season. What, maybe 2 times? Maybe?
Yeah, Nihiligo's been on the bench a lot. I mean, it's a pretty exploitable Pokemon. It's weak to,
Ground,
you know, certain
times.
stab moves. It's fast, but not quite fast enough. It hits hard, but not quite hard enough. You know, it can really get on a tear. It's a great late-game sweeper, but just, again, you know, Rock and Poison, there's a lot of things that resist or even are immune to those. Like, you know, no matter how totally juiced Nihilego is going into the end of this game, if Lucario's not gone, it can't sweep.
Yeah. And we do see a pretty standard team from ASCII this season, as we've talked about, you know, pretty much every week. Or sorry, this week, not season. And we do see Cottony, though. That is here, again.
Yeah, Cottony is fine. You know, I think really anything that's Prankster is good. Again, Cottony kind of has that benefit of, because its base HP is so low, anytime it's putting up a Leech Seed, it's actually receiving a lot more of its health as a percentage than you might expect. So, it's not bad. And I mean, it can get up screens and...
It webs too,
you know,
right? Or no?
No, Cottony cannot put up webs. Absolutely not. It's Switcheroo. I mean, it's got a bunch of little doohickeys that it can do. And it's run Eviolite before as well. It's been able to actually tank a couple of poison hits, we remember.
Yeah.
So...
Which is cool.
Yeah. So it's not out of the question. We're going to really, basically, Niles is going to have to play this perfectly. And really, ASCII, the only skin he has in the game right now is to take Niles down with him.
Yep. So let's get started and look into that. We have a Yuxi lead and we have a Vikavolt lead. And I am Sticky Webbing is probably clicking bug buzz.
I am buzzing bug.
Coco's here. We do see the electricity kick off once again. And there's the webs.
Yep, webs go down. This is the same type of Coco set basically that we saw last time.
Yeah.
That was pretty solid for the most part. I don't remember it winning, but it was okay. It was pretty hard to break.
Does this get stored power?
That's a great question. I don't think so.
Wow, that Thunderbolt does so much damage.
Yeah, I mean, that's +1 special attack in electric terrain. Yep. That's a ton of damage. And Wee Wee is back in action.
Let's go, Wee Wee. Weather Ball.
Yep, handles the Weather Ball pretty decently. Can definitely spin away these rocks, but opts instead to actually reveal Supercell Slam.
Yeah.
And ASCII actually just has Protect on this and triggers the Supercell Slam self-recoil, and there it goes.
That's so crazy.
Yep, Nihilego definitely, if it's good at anything, it's forcing out the Charizard.
Yeah.
And you see here, Power Gem still doing so much damage.
Well, it is a Cottony.
But now, ASCII's got Tailwind up. Again, Nihilego's not quite strong enough. Yeah. Or rather fast enough to outrun this. But look at that, dude! It doesn't even kill it with its Scorching Sand. It's 4 times effective.
Yeah. That's so crazy. I know I keep saying that.
And even after webs here...
Oh.
I mean, look, even after webs, like, your Chlorophyll plus Tailwind, like, this thing is going super duper fast.
Yeah. Still the sun.
And I guess it should be noted as well, we kind of brushed over it, but as soon as Wee Wee killed himself on Supercell Slam, Nihilus became ineligible to advance to playoffs.
Yeah.
This Scald also does like nothing because of the sun, which is kind of funny.
The Twizzler's back.
Yuxi. I know. You kind of get away with murder here, because I remember it comes in later and gets a knock too.
Yeah. I mean, close combat, makes sense. Not doing anything. This teleporting away, bringing in Vikavolt, and Vikavolt's such a terrifying creature.
Yeah, there's not too much that Lilligant can do at this point. I mean, obviously it's good into Blastoise, but it's very precarious for ASCII to be switching in.
Yeah.
And there's Yuxi again.
It's back.
Twizzler gets the pitch recover. This thing looks pretty impossible to break, to be honest. Short of like a very, very, a lot of Swords Dances off Lucario, maybe.
Yeah.
Or perhaps a nasty plot, who knows?
Yeah, I'm surprised Nihilus has stayed in so long getting all this set up. But
yeah, I think at this point, I mean, there's no reason not to just, get your field control up a little stronger. Get those rocks up, might, pop a potential sash, getting the Thunder Wave off. I think it's good positioning on his part.
Fair. Oh, 48 is crazy with the times, too.
Yeah. Terra Normal Lucario, man, goes crazy. It's the same, basically, as, like, a Terra Normal Dragonite.
Yeah.
But that's it. Nihilus actually does manage to land a pretty important Focus Blast there. Presumably, other hits wouldn't have done the do.
Yeah.
But he manages to land it, and Yuxi dies on rocks, and that is all she wrote for both the Philadelphia Phantumps and the Dallas Duckletts.
Yep. The season is now over for both of them. Nihilus getting a nice dub, though, to end off on.
Yeah. Again, 4-3. He's 4-3, and he can't make it to playoffs again. This is the kind of thing that's like pretty rare. Like if you look at the other divisions at the end of week 7, I don't think you see literally any other division where a 4-3 doesn't advance. It is so tear your hair out frustrating that it happened to the same guy more than once. My heart breaks for Nihilus. He's so good. Oh, why did he get punished for no reason? I don't know. I don't know. I so believe in the Nihilus run. I think Dallas Duckletts in playoffs just start fucking bum, But unfortunately, this is not the season for it. But at least Aurora is now breathing a sigh of relief, because even if she manages to... I say manage to lose. Even if she happens to lose to Bananas, it is now just a matter of seeding and not a matter of you could actually still drop out.
Yeah. So we have another match to go through later to figure out who is going to make it into playoffs, but we have a really good idea now, especially going into this team here. Do you want to tell me about it?
Oh, I sure would. So this one is also just kind of a 4-seeding match. Right now we've got Goober of the Bidwell Bees versus Menma of the Minnesota Jynx. Menma currently sitting at the top of the division. He's got a pretty healthy lead by differential, but obviously, he will be competing with a potential Bananas win this week to threaten the first place spot. So he would really like to beat Goober, and he would like to do it by a pretty wide margin if he can help it, just to definitely, stick his flag in the ground and say, I'm not dropping out of first. I want the best odds of a good playoffs bracket possible. Yep. Goober, on the other hand, has nothing to gain, nothing to lose. He's just in there to scrap, He's again, same deal as Asky, like, I'm going to bring you down with me, brother.
And he's brought some crazy Pokemon to bring him down with. And I know we see these Pokemon almost every week from Goober, but they're still all terrifying in their own rights. I like the Magnet Zone bring for Magnet Pull with Melmetal. I think that's really fun. Brute Bonnet goes kind of hard, actually, other than Enamorous is a little worried about. Cloyster,
I know also, some modern Magnezone sets and singles are Magnet Pull with Iron Fence Body Press, just to stick something like Melmetal in front of you and then just keep boosting on it. But yeah, well, we'll have to see how that goes. Magnezone, though, especially with something like Analytic, it's so much slower than basically all of this team that it's pretty much always getting analytic boosted. And, Steel and Electric coverage goes pretty nice into this team, minus Camera Up.
Yeah, that, and also, I think, doesn't Roaring Moon get, either Earthquake or Close Combat or something?
Oh, for sure, yeah. It gets good coverage for Magnezone. And, so does Enamorous, and even Melmetal can learn Earthquake. So It's not like it's just an invincible Pokemon. It's definitely not going to be able to keep taking super effective hits, but it can at least take one, probably. It's bulky enough, strong enough, good enough, sort of synergistic ability with its stats that I think it could be a threat, not one to look over.
Fair. We also see Orbeetle here for, I think, the first time? Second? First.
Yeah, this is the first Orbeetle.
Okay.
And this is also, I think, the second time he's brought now his Enamorous that he traded for. That is Mass's Enamorous formerly, and now his. And it also does look pretty solid into this team. Really, this thing at +2 speed kind of goes crazy.
Yeah, it does.
But I think we just kind of have to hit play and rock and roll.
Okay, we got a Beedrill lead. Cool. This thing U-turns. It does pretty well with that. You could...
Nope.
I was saying
that's fine. Mega Beedrill overrated.
Yeah.
This is very scary, though. Switching into Mega Camera Up is really hard, because obviously you're not necessarily doing a great job of resisting Earth Power or Flamethrower across the board.
Yeah, but we got a nice double into the dirigible.
Yep. Goober manages to get out of there without getting killed, although he does get a little greedy getting that speed up without having, appropriate measures to deal with Orbeetle.
This thing comes back in doing a head smash, doing 75% of Camera Up's health. Is crazy.
Yep.
Another one.
Then 2 hits.
Nice. Flip turning, not killing this thing with flip turn.
Yeah, this is actually a very funny reveal because, oh wait, this was Scarfed, which means also the Starmie was Scarfed. So, he gets 2 kills and he also scouts the Scarf Starmie.
Yeah. I do like that Orbeetle at least did hit something in his first time coming out, so, there's that.
Yep.
Magzone's crazy here, so we get an Earth Power that does not kill this because of the bear.
Yep,
and
soaks it right up.
Volt Switch just kills
That'll
it.
do it.
And
see, that's why, sometimes you want to keep the Sugar Berry because it's a secret, whereas everybody knows you got Air Balloon.
Yeah. And already Menma on a back foot, by the way, with 3 Pokemon left. Now, these are scary Pokemon, these three.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this position a back foot because he's got webs and rocks up, and he's already chipped a few Pokemon. Like Magnezone might as well be dead. Lander's down to around 50.
Yeah.
Good deal for Magnezone, though. Menma playing surprisingly passive there, trying to go for the Thunder Wave instead of just trying to double Iron Bash the Beedrill or whatever the switch-in was, because he doesn't have a lot in terms of resist.
Yeah. And we get another substitute right here instead of a double Iron Bash.
Yeah, he's looking for, I think, baiting the U-turn again and getting another sub up, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But Brute Bonnet comes in. Melmetal might be faster, depending on speed creep after webs, but Sucker Punch ensures that is not a consideration.
Yeah, Stone Edge not killing this thing. I'm surprised we don't see a fighting move from Roaring Moon.
Roaring Moon just in this game did not have the coverage to hit Brute Bonnet. Also, Brute Bonnet had a Terra to consider, so maybe he was trying to just go for neutral damage. But, with the Sucker Punch in tow, that's a dead Starmie.
Yeah, it is. It was a Terra Poison.
So yeah, depending on the coverage, I mean, if he did, I don't even know if Roy Moon gets fighting coverage, but if it had fighting coverage, then obviously Poison is resistant to fighting, and if he tries to go for an Earthquake, predicting the Poison Terra, then if it doesn't happen,
it turns into mind games at that point.
Yeah, so maybe it was like he calculated it. It was like, okay, well, maybe Stone Edge increased crit rate that can sort of break through Brute Bonnet depending on the set, or it's hard to say exactly. I mean, at that point he definitely was playing on the back foot.
Yeah.
But Goober Trooper, I mean, looked pretty decently in control after those first couple of turns, and manages to end the season off with another win.
Yeah, and let's go for and that is the end of the season, of course, for Goober. Goober's not going to playoffs and stuff, but ending on a W is fantastic, especially for his first season.
Oh yeah,
and
he did disrupt Menma's position quite a lot here, because even though it was only a 3-0, like incurring that extra loss at the end is not great. It's not optimal. It's not ideal.
Yeah, because, and we're gonna get into this more later, but again, this affects the positioning for playoffs and who you're fighting, and who you're fighting really matters into week 1 of playoffs. But Kindred Spirits with Goober, we do have Liz of the Sunshine State Smolivs and Black Captain Rehai of the Martian Mantines. And this is a match where we're looking to see who makes it to playoffs at this point now.
Yeah, the way the math worked out, literally whoever wins by whatever amount is guaranteed in.
Yep.
Whoever loses by any amount is guaranteed out.
Yep. Nihilus didn't have enough differential to surpass one of them, which is why he needed 6-0, because the only one Nihilus could have passed was Aurora, just based off of differential, despite win-loss, because the win-losses are so tight in this entire division. We'll go over that when we talk about even the final numbering and tiering, I guess, differential and scores and all that at the end of this.
The division is entirely built around differential at this point,
which is cool.
So to that end, I mean, Liz has been rocking a pretty decent differential the entire season. So is Black Captain, and I mean, we've seen some movement from Black Captain, but he stayed pretty firmly in the top 4 this entire time. Especially early on, I believe he was leading the pack. But up to this point, he's been looking consistent, but very slowly slipping down the leaderboard. So for him to stay in the top 4 the entire season, then lose it the last week would be a real heartbreaker. But same deal for Liz. She also was hanging in the top 4 for a very long time this season, only just now kind of coming in from behind. So
we do see a Terra Fairy Electrode, by the way.
Yeah, Terra Fairy, really good. Obviously, for how good Urshifu Single Strike is as a Pokemon, it is just absolutely murked by Fairy. It's very hard for it to deal with Fairies. And again, just by virtue of having kind of an awkward speed tier, a lot of the time you're going to want to see this thing choiced, or if it's not choiced, it's pretty exploitable. So there are definitely some considerations to be made here.
And we see a pretty standard team from Liz, but I mean, it's a great team. I mean, Annihilate alone looks pretty scary into a lot of this team.
Oh yeah. Galarian Slowking could be definitely annoying depending on the sets that Liz has. It can be very hard to kill, and it can be very good at spreading debuffs, and especially that slow pivot with Regenerator. Slowking, the slow friends all lost teleport, but Slowking retained its chilly reception. So that obviously has been kind of the crux of what has enabled, or maybe not the crux, but has been certainly very helpful to Urshifu Single Strike in enabling it to be successful. Yeah,
but I think at this point, I'm curious. Who's going to win? Who's going to make it? I gotta know. We gotta see. We gotta get more
everything on the line.
Immediately doubling back into Incineroar into this and getting scalded right away.
Yep, can't be burnt because it's fire type, which is nice, and the knockoff is very splashable here.
Yeah.
There's definitely a consideration to be made here for Garganackle running Clear Body to prevent Parting Shot from working instead of running the Purifying Salt. So, presumably that being the reason that we don't see a Parting Shot, we instead see just a hard switch out.
Nice sub.
This thing reveals Thunder Wave.
Yep.
Oh yeah, well it's good to just scout, if it just ends up throwing off a really super, hard-hitting attack, then you can just leave. But seeing Shadow Ball kind of implies it doesn't have access to Psychic right now, so...
Yeah. And this thing's
that is an awkward roll. There's an awkward roll Shadow Ball because it broke the sub last time, and then it did 24% there. So
Yeah.
Very dangerous to play that game. But it's good intel, and Wicked Blow now kind of just becomes an issue for Glamora. Glamora ultimately has to be a sack, and even though you're getting those toxic spikes up, as long as Galarian Slowking's in play, it's not really going to be much of a concern. Although now he has revealed, since the item has been knocked, he's not Boots. He didn't get poisoned. That's got to be Purifying Salt.
Yeah.
But from this position, I mean, it is very hard for Black Captain to switch into a Rage Fist now that it's been powered up.
Yeah.
But this thing just barely does it.
Have you guys called? Do we get a burn? No burn. The crit's a little rough, but I mean, again, Rage Fist here just starts taking names.
Powers up Rage Fist, again, like, you could have maybe seen another substitute there depending on how it went, but the crit Scald doing 27 just means that, you know, she does not have the HP to play with there.
Yeah.
Yep. We see Terra Fighting come out on the Hisuian Typhlosion, but that does open it up to a Terra Fairy Weebowling.
Weebowling, and we get it.
And it does dodge the Will-O-Wisp, which actually ends up being bad for Liz in the long run for reasons we'll see later.
Yeah.
But right now, I mean, it's pretty even, but Liz has got some very threatening stuff still pretty topped off, except now this Scald Burn is devastating to Steelix. Slowking gets an Illumise safely. Earthquake doing very little damage, obviously off the resist, and then the burn too.
Yeah.
Liz doesn't have any setup here. No Cleric support with like a Chansey or something, so we're not going to see that burn going away.
Yeah, that Wish was really interesting because it helps out here a little bit, but when you have a Regenerator Slowking, it's like, it's not going to do that much, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, it's kind of scouting, right? Like, in case there's any reason that you don't want to switch in your Slowking there, having the Wish to support some other switch in is good. And I mean, what else are you trying to do? You're just kind of waiting for the burn to kill this.
Yeah. Thunderbolt doing 41% and an unfortunate Thunderwave there. I'm wondering...
Thunderwave, that's also not Prankster, which is kind of weird.
It is, yeah. That's really odd, actually. I wonder if going into Latios actually could have been a little nicer, because the speed alone on Electrode just makes it so it just comes in and hits so much stuff. Because you look at the last health percentages of Black Captain's team, everything's really low. And Weebowling here hits everything really hard. Well, it would.
If it can move.
If it can...
Ooh, it can move.
Yeah.
So this is what I was saying earlier, you know, that Will-O-Wisp missing actually has massive implications, because if it were burned, that would be fine, but being paralyzed has become a huge problem.
Yeah. Because, again, we see that, you know, it's now slower than this. It gets parried again, and it's so unfortunate, because that would have taken this out, taken out the bug, and likely survived a Wicked Blow from Urshifu, and probably taken it out too.
Yep. So it was a really, really tight game regardless. And actually, Latios, we see, reveals a Colbur Berry here at the last second. So if this were faster, this would have lived a Sucker Punch and would have definitely killed with Alluring Voice. But sadly, that is not the world we live in, for Liz anyway. Black Captain, I'm sure, is thrilled that he actually gets to advance just by the skin of his teeth into playoffs with the 1-0 victory over Liz, unfortunately sending Liz back home. And now Liz and Goober, both the new players in this division, sent packing, despite both making really solid deep runs, just falling short.
Incredible first seasons for both of them, and it's really exciting seeing new players as we continue on Double Dip after all these years. New players bringing some heat, and oftentimes new players really shake up just the whole league itself. Experienced players often don't know what to do with them, right? They play a little more unpredictably, but Liz and Goober showed some really good just strategies and just play overall.
And well, we saw them grinding too. You know, I think a lot of effort goes a long way towards having a good season here. And Liz and Goober were both just there every week, you know, scrimming, practicing, prepping. Like, they showed a lot of panache, initiative, you know, gumption. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. They did a really, really good job. You know, and again, I don't want to be a downer on Black Captain, but for sure, you know, the Cinderella run where a brand new player gets to make it into playoffs, those hopes are now dashed for this division. And that means we have one more match to determine seeding, because both of these players are guaranteed in. We've got Bananas, and don't drop that, Dedennes, and Aurora of the Hoensbroek Hunters.
Yeah, and we get to see the other bug here this week. You had Illumise on the other side. Now we get Volbeat.
Yes, that's true. Illumise and Volbeat both came.
Why are they not bugs flying? Why are they just bug?
I don't know. I mean, why is anything anything?
You got me. You're so right.
This is a really important match again for seeding, because effectively whoever wins this has a good shot at jumping up to first place, especially after Venmo lost. Conversely, whoever loses has a pretty decent chance of falling down to fourth, or at least Aurora does. Bananas is a bit more comfortable. We can maybe see him fall down to third potentially, but really these are the two Titans, the top two seeds of the division, and it's pretty cut and dry. Like, whoever wins is positioned really well into playoffs. Whoever loses is going to be making someone else pretty sad early on into playoffs, because they're going to be fighting a good player.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. My bad. So,
well, I gotta be honest with you, this is the most immune to ground I've ever seen any Pokemon. This is a terrifying Rotom fan, you know?
Yeah. So. We'll have to see how Terraflying Rotom Fan does, but we do have, I mean, Swirlix is here for the first time. That thing is silly.
Yeah, Swirlix is I hit Sticky Web.
Yeah.
I hit Sticky Web, and that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. And, you know, it might do a couple other things. I think it missed the explosions. There's a goofy little strategy with that, I think. If I remember
oh, yeah, that's
right.
like a Slurpuff thing, where it likes to basically run a Pinch Berry or a Focus Sash. Turn one, it sets up webs. It gets its berry or sash consumed. Then it activates Unburden. Then you Misty Explode so that they can't defog or Rapid Spin your hazards away after. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit niche, but it's good.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's get into our last match of Rocket Divisions. We get a Swirlix lead, Sticky Web, so we'll probably get to see that here. Almost dying to a Volt Switch.
God, poor Swirlix is a little baby.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have stats. Come on now.
Magic Coat is hilarious. I love that.
Big Magic Coat, though. Yeah,
then,
for real.
This thing...
And then
Endeavor.
And the fact that this got to click 3 different buttons is like, holy cow, this is the most a Swirlix has ever done, ever.
That's so good. Goodbye, S'more. You'll be missed. I salute you.
Yep. No S'more for you.
Yep.
Obviously, again, you know, both these players are so good that you're going to be seeing a lot of clever positioning, and you see here, you know, threatening, especially with being a screen Zapdos is really interesting. Yeah. Zapdos, with its bulk and its typing and its ability to handle... like, you know, to distribute statics is what I'm trying to say. Freeze is back in the menu. Nope, just kidding. Yeah. that one's really an ideological freeze. That one's, you know, it's not real.
I'm just a scare. We've seen what it's been doing all season, and Drain Punch from this thing is terrifying because it gets scrappy, and it's likely scrappy.
Yeah, we also we noticed that there's not an attack debuff from the King Shield, which means that that's probably protective pads or maybe punching glove.
Probably something along those lines. We'll have to find out and ask Aurora later.
Yep, good spin block from Bananas. Aurora identifies a potential opportunity to get rid of these webs in the spike, but Bananas prevents it from happening. Yeah. And here, I mean, that Terra Poison coming in so clutch. It's really, really nice. And because the thing, again, is not getting attack dropped by the King Shield, it is free to keep clicking Drain Punch.
Yeah. Or Ice Punch.
Except when it clicks Ice Punch, which is a good read on Aurora's part.
Yeah, fantastic read. This thing with Balloon and Terra Flying and Ground Flying. I can't believe
it's running a Balloon. That's so funny.
Yeah. Love that.
He said he was going to do it, and by God, he did it. That thing is immune. That thing is so immune.
Doubling back into Tentacruel here, and this thing not taking a Drain Punch. I'm a little surprised we didn't see Liquid Ooze off of Tentacruel. I think it's a fun...
I mean, Clear Body is also pretty worth doing. Here's the deal. Mm-hmm. Like, Aurora is really struggling because she doesn't have hazards up, and he does. Yeah. And... it's kind of like a snowball effect where, like, the more of Aurora's, you know, game plan that has to revolve around accounting for Spike's chip and reduced speed, the less flexibility she has. Also, there goes free Balloon Day is over.
No, free Balloon Day. The freeze? No, we don't get that. Nope, yeah, but again,
I'm always gripping for it though.
We're 25 turns in, and Bananas has lost 2 Pokemon, but admittedly, like, they both have so much pressure on each other right now. And we do get Sword Dance coming out again and able to finally take out another Pokemon. But, you know, 27 turns in, and it's 4 versus 5 Pokemon. This is a solid matchup. They've been positioning really well, both of them.
Oh yeah, and that's a good read on Bananas' part because you are risking like a potential heat wave. I don't know if she's shown all 4 moves on Zapdos yet, but he does predict that there's going to be a Volt Switch, and he's able to just Swords Dance up again. And we see again these Volt Switches, like Zapdos is doing everything, and Naganadel could do a lot of damage here. It could do a lot. It could do a lot.
I think the crit mattered at the end there too.
That was, yeah, I mean, that was pretty bad. The Naganadel has not been carrying its weight this time around, and that's not even Aurora's fault. That's just a really tragic flinch.
Yeah, and, you know, it's crazy how much slower it is with the reduction in speed because of the webs. The webs is just paying off so well right now for Bananas.
Yeah, and it's funny, this Terra Flying has actually been kind of helpful. The extra damage on that Air Slash certainly did not hurt.
Yeah, this Zapdos, by the way, being as bulky as it is, again, taking Ice Beams from Tentacruel and just being able to survive and just get enough roosts to get some good health back. Yep. Unfortunate crit, but again...
I mean, this is a dodgy situation to be in. This is really bad.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be risking this many freezes.
Yeah, because this is a lot of Ice Beams that we see here. This is a lot of Ice Beams we see here.
Yeah. I mean, we see close to 10 Ice Beams. You know, like that's almost at odds for another freeze, but...
Yeah.
Thankfully for Aurora, it does not happen. She manages to get up her light screen. She's actually positioned pretty decently right now. Again, he is just having the hardest time breaking this, and everything is kind of slowly getting chipped and staticked, and... I mean, it's going.
Doubling back into this... And again, look at these Volt Switches just doing so much damage to everything, like using 20 to 30%. And if you keep Volt Switching, you just keep chipping away at everything.
Oh yeah.
Nice Shadow Sneak there. And again, we're down to 2 Pokemon, but still Aurora's not in a...
It's difficult.
Oh, we get the Para. Not in a losing position
static,
yet.
Finally. No, it's not over yet, but it's going to be really dodgy. Oh, risky switch into the bundle, predicting that Aurora's going to do something passive at the end of that light screen. And she does. She looks back on this and kind of kicks herself for not just hitting Volt Switch there. And definitely she's right to feel that way, because it would have absolutely just popped this thing, short of like a random Wakan Berry or something.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's all she wrote, man. I mean, again, it's a 4-0, but it is so much closer than that number would suggest. And I love watching good players like just fighting like that. You know, Aurora is so rock solid that it's just like, it just takes one slightly suboptimal play to bring the whole thing to an end.
And the thing is everything was so chipped down. Tentacruel down to 8. We had 27 on the ground immunity. We have 20% Parrot on Aegislash. And Bundle is frail. That thing dies to most everything. I'm pretty sure a Bullet Punch would kill that thing. So it was not... This was a very close game for 47 turns back and forth. This was still anyone's game, even with Aurora down to Zapdos and Pangoro left. But yeah, Bananas pulls it off, and I believe takes the first spot, but I don't know. Someone here has to tell me about the top 4, pretty please.
Oh, don't mind if I do. Well, Bananas does solidly lead the pack, sitting at a 5-2 plus 14, the only player in this division to get 5 wins. Second place still does end up going to Menma at 4-3 plus 9. That's the Minnesota Jynx. Black Captain ends in third at a 4-3 plus 3. That's the Martian Mantines, and Aurora of the Hoensbroek Contours ends at a 4-3 plus 1, just barely squeaking in.
Yes, with Nihilus of the Dallas Duckletts at a 4-3 minus 3. Liz of the Sunshine State Smolivs at a 3-4 minus 1, Goober of the Bidwell Bees at a 3-4 minus 5, and ASCII at a 1-6 minus 18. And from 1st to 7th, it is incredible to have this many 4-3s and 2 3-4s.
Yeah, that is, I mean, the fact that was so competitive up to the very last second, and again, it is just so... It raises my blood pressure, makes me feel funny in my chest, seeing the 4-3 minus 3 not making it into playoffs. I just why? I'm sure that's more frustrating for Nihilus than it is for me, but I'm just like, man, I hate when that happens.
What a competitive division that we've had to cover for this season of Double Dip. Rocket has been an insane ride throughout the entire season. I don't think there's been a single week that hasn't been, well, what's going to happen? We don't know. Who's going to make it? I don't know, but now we actually know. So the reason we brought up placements and everything for the divisions, it is super important if you get 1st place or 4th place or whatever it is, because 1st place will fight 4th place in a different division, and 2nd place will fight 3rd place in a different division. So you're playing people that are seeded lower than you, depending on their results in their division.
Right, which is kind of, unfortunate for Aurora that she wound up coming out in 4th, because she's immediately going to have to fight first out of a different division. But I also have to give my condolences to the first place in another division that has to fight Aurora immediately out the gate. That is very tragic on that end as well.
Yeah. But we're not going to go over the other divisions here. Please go check out the other recaps and the videos so you can find out who's fighting who, although you probably already know who's fighting who. And when we do our coverage of week 1 of playoffs, we're going to be discussing who's fighting who and going over all that stuff and looking into the second week. And then after that, we're going to be discussing the live stream for playoffs.
Oh, yeah. So there's a lot coming up. Playoffs is really exciting. We're going to see you again soon for playoffs week 1 coverage. Thank you so much for joining us for Rocket Division. I would like to thank all of the players in Rocket and also apologize to them. I'm so sorry this happened. But, it was a really fun division to watch.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the coverage. Definitely, again, check out Aqua, Magma, and Skull recaps and stay tuned for playoffs. Thank you, Cabral, for hosting this division with me.
Of course. Thanks for being with me in this division.
Oh, I was thrilled. I could not have asked for a better division to cover, and I'm really glad I got to do it. So,
yeah.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you for hosting. We'll see you again for playoffs.
Woo!
And that's Rocket Division blasting
yeah,
off again.
let's be live.